I'm going to share with you exact framework of how I spotted a particular stock of Bitcoin and had a 6x move. And I shared all of that in my videos on YouTube, which was available at back then 2 years ago. But I want to decode that so that you can take it away for next such 6x moves or maybe more, but the process remains the same. Nothing changes. If you stay till the end, you will understand that. If you are in rush, this probably not going to be a video worth watching. If you can spend the time, stay till the end, because that's where it's important to find such you what exactly I covered. So this was the analysis which I shared, how you could have captured the previous move here in Bitcoin, which different stage analysis, and then the same action happened, and then now there is a capitulation which has happened in Bitcoin. But I thought I'll cover this so that you get a better understanding of how we should capture find such moves in other stocks. But before that, I just wanted to also show you that this was the videos which I shared back then. Nobody was talking about it. You can go to my channel here, and if you're new, you can subscribe to it. My name is Shwin Bhatia, and I'm helping busy professionals to understand and decode how to decipher the stock market so you can earn your first dollar peacefully, so that you can then earn millions out of it. That's a goal, that's an objective for this channel, because that's where I enjoy doing most while I'm busy doing my day job as well. So these were some of the videos I shared. So now let's go straight to the point of what's going on. And before I jump into that, I want to first show you the stage analysis which we shared, and because that is important to understand, and then we'll walk through the whole thing in the charts as well. Reason why I picked up Bitcoin, it doesn't matter whether it's Bitcoin or any other stock. I'm not giving any recommendation, buy, sell advice, because I'm not allowed to. But my main objective here is to make you understand how stock moves or crypto moves. As you can see here, initially when I posted, and this was exact post which I did at back then. If you don't believe me, let me also show you that, right? This is what it is. So when I posted, it was the title: Bitcoin zero or negative return bottom is made, July 8, 2022. Right now, you trust me, right? This is not I'm smart enough. It is about anticipation, and you work towards it. And back then, it was, and I provided the analysis, what I was anticipating, and based on that, I thought it'll be a better opportunity. And never invested in Bitcoin, by the way. So I'm just sharing it for analysis, because I believe that there are much better instruments available where you can invest so you can peacefully sleep. And Bitcoin was not my thing at all. But applying price action is my passion. Understanding the language of stock market is my passion. And that's where I keep doing it, and I keep sharing it on my channel as well as on Twitter. And you can follow me for that. So I did, mention about it. What's going on at that moment? I made it very clear that it's only for study purposes, and this is what happened. And it was 19,000 back then, and then it moved on and became 67,000, and it's in US dollars. And then thereafter, it is 18. After touching 125, it went to 86,000 now. Now we'll at the end we'll cover what I believe will be the Bitcoin future. That's my anticipation. I'm not saying that I know it. I'm not here to boost myself. I'm just sharing the complete analysis based on my understanding, because I'm also a learner. So let's go state by state. First of all, this is a stage analysis we've done, right? When it was forming a base, and this was the time when I said this is a stage one, as per, stage analysis. We can cover that in a more detailed analysis in separate video. Otherwise, it become very big. Stage analysis is nothing but how the stock moves, right? You initially had a capitulation, and then it formed a base here to where buyers, there's a confluence of buyers and sellers, so the selling has stopped. Otherwise Bitcoin would have crashed, but didn't happen like that. It formed a nice base here before it started moving up, and that's where you see all the trend lines, which is basically different trend lines. You can use any of them you want, started moving directionally up. And that's where the new stage two started. What does it mean? You have a base, then you got stage two, then you got a base again, and it could go again in stage two, or it could simply, um, go like this, go stage two, base, and crash. That's also possible. So it depends on what's going on. You have to have an analysis on it so that you can capture as many stage two stocks in your journey, which could happen in months, weeks, years, but stocks can remain in stage two because, after all, whether it's a Bitcoin or things, it all depends on the overall market mood. And obviously, if it's a company, then obviously your profits and the revenue governs how many months or years they will stay in stage two. So in this case, Bitcoin is all driven by based on narrative, based on, there is a risk money flowing in, or it could be, people borrowing cheap in Japanese yen and then moving to uh, higher returns, and that's what going on. You don't know what the reason is, what the money supply is, but our job is to follow a process and ensure that we are able to take that advantage of stage two. So stage two, base one has formed, and that is a crucial part. Entry matters, and that is the time where I created most of my videos. And moment it moved from the stage to base twos and base threes, where I was just giving an update because there's no point, because there was a steep rally happen. And you must be wondering, how does moving from base one to base two, base three? It's like if you're going to Mount Everest, you don't go straight up, right? You always have a base camp and then you move towards. That's how the stock also moves. It moves in a particular basis, and you need to understand how to be part of that basis and when to say you've reached the pinnacle before you want to descend down. And I call it glide. And that's what it is all about. So once you have typically multiple bases, in this example, you've got a stage two. So it is part of the stage two. You have base one, base two, base three, and base four. It's very rarely, base four is formed, and then you have a capitulation which has happened. And now you have to wait and see what next happens on Bitcoin, whether it'll move up or move down. Time will tell. But what's something I want to share with you, that exactly the same thing happened during the 2019-18, and when it was in 2021. So no different. If you go and do this base analysis you can do based on if the stock has moved up 20-30% without looking back. That is where the base should count should change, right? As simple as that. You don't have to really make it complicated. You just want to understand. You can see there's a steep rally, right? And stock moves in particular bases, and after particular stage three and four, you have to be alerted. And I remember somebody who's invested in Bitcoin asked me, what do you think about it? I said, it will go up. Nobody knows about it. But at this point, I would book profit and take some money off the table. That was my view. And obviously, if somebody has a long term view, that's a different story. It's my process. So I'm not saying anybody to follow it specifically. I just thought that was my view about it because I've practiced on numerous charts. That's my hobby, looking at charts, looking at all price action, trying to learn what chart is telling me. And reason why I've taken Bitcoin, because there's no fundamental to it. Otherwise, you study about the fundamentals of stocks and you try to understand that. Hence, I've taken this. But if you apply this in stocks, please put in comment box below what was your learning, because I'm expecting it may not work in a large cap, but probably small cap or mid cap, it works perfectly. Stage analysis, you can apply that. Right now, let's go to, if you're not following me on Twitter, you can follow me, and my Twitter handle is, you can find out here. It's at the rate Bhatia Shivendra, and you can be able to follow me there. Right? I share regularly because videos are sometimes difficult to make. And if you're new to my channel, you can subscribe it. If you're getting value, just type value so that I know that you are enjoying this content and also getting value out of it, because I'm not here for entertainment. I'm just a single person trying to, flush all these videos, knowledge, so you can benefit from that. Right? So let's get cracking. I will now take you to the chart. So I was taking you to, so this is what it is. So I generally track few of them like Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, just to understand the market mood, right? And XRP probably would have played it and exited just so that see whether my model works here. And what I want to show you is specifically in Bitcoin is that you have to ensure that when the bases are formed, the right entry points have to identify it, because it doesn't mean that this was the time when I said that base is formed, right? But you have to wait for the right time to enter. And the right time was this was the best time where you got the least, where you have an upside to capture, and at the same time you're taking least risk and build on your position. You don't want to take it all in. And that's where I kind of kept on making so many videos. I'm not sure how many people got benefited because I don't get to know that. But if you got benefit from that, just type benefited so I know that you got value out of it. And then you see this, there was an one way up, right? And it's up to you at that point whether you want to wait for another because it's very early on in the base and you can play for upside. And then there's a vertical rally. And that vertical rally is something you can see there's a broader participation which has happened. And that broader participation tend to always comes with the correction. And whenever you see such kind of participation, at least I personally want to take some money off the table because this is very rarely you get it, this kind of pump, right? And then it dumps it, and which is what typically happens. And then you got a last push here before it fully dumped. Now question comes in before making this video too big is that a up till now what you learned is about it works in bases and you have to understand which base you're buying. If it's in stage two, base three, you should avoid that stock technically because that's where chances are that it might not work. Chances, again, it's a probability game, right? Don't call me for that because it is something based on back testing. You can keep testing hundreds and thousands of it and you will get to have some kind of pattern. And one thing I want to call out is it is a probability game, right? We're playing for anticipation probability. But at the same time, you want to work on setups which are repeatable. One off can be there and one off cannot be your strategy, right? You agree? Just type agree if you agree on it. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, hit the notification bell and give a thumbs up. I think you should do it now because you're going to get tons of value and save you hours of it. And I want to make sure that you earn your first dollar peacefully and then make millions out of that, right? So let's now look at what's going on. For me, as I said, the first line is here. This is the area where it should have some kind of buying happen or stabilization happen. If it doesn't happen, I'm afraid the downside is open for this particular Bitcoin, right? So it is very clearly that you have certain bases formed, and now it's a very crucial area where it is there. And time and again, it has proven that stocks have this, I call it a Burj Khalifa, right? It is made double Burj Khalifa. And you want to make sure that you are um, going up in Burj Khalifa and gliding down, not along with the stock, but glide out with parachute so that you are safe, right? And that's what I wanted to cover today. Just to give you that how the simple analysis can make you 6x. And that's what I try to cover in my view and today to hopefully you got value out of that because it is important that you understand this. And what is important is PVT me, price, volume, time, and market environment. That is what it is matters. And that mixture of it is what takes you to the next level, right? So just recap, we talked about a simple price action base analysis, and after four bases, chances, or after even three bases, you have to get alerted. Not necessarily I want you to do any buy sell, but try and do their study. And you can create the bases in stage two is by seeing how much stock has gone up without taking a rest, basically correcting. It could be 20%, 30%. Typically, you can keep 20%, that will be ideal. And then try and count those bases. And after three or four bases, you should be very much alerted on it. It's a simple price action analysis. If you got to most of the value out of it, just type it. You got it so that I know that you learned from it. And if you had any, kind of